Hello, it's me, Julia. So I wanted to share with you this little illustration I created a while ago. I think it's a couple of months ago, probably in December sometime. And yes, I started out by doing some warm-up drawings, some cozy things, and then I did this really ugly first sketch. And please just take that in, because I feel like it's so important to see that the first sketch really can look very messy and ugly. And I remember being so afraid of doing horrible drawings that it was really difficult for me to start at all. So then I'm doing the armchair, and I had a reference for that, I remember that. And yes, this is my first character. It's a badger, and I'm currently, or I have been wanting to work on a children's book for a while now, and I know that my two main characters will be a badger and a bunny. So what I'm doing here is just practicing drawing badgers and bunnies in all different kinds of situations. So this is my second rough sketch there, and I set that, I lower the opacity, and then I redraw many of the elements yet again. And I remember I had the armchair and the badger and the bunny on different layers, because there are quite a lot of overlapping elements here. And so what I wanted to do is to be able to separate them, because at this stage I still intended to keep the line work. I think I've mentioned it before, I often struggle to decide whether I want to have the line work or not. And I think in this case I got rid of quite a lot of the line work in the end. But yes, I didn't know that at the beginning. Yes, I struggled quite a bit with these two animals, so I'm fairly new to character drawing. And with the badger, I really had problems with his legs, and you can see me here drawing and redrawing parts of the bunny, so I struggled with him as well. The benefit of having him on a separate layer was that I could just concentrate on him by toggling off the visibility of all the other layers, so that was quite helpful there. Okay, all in all, I took as long for the sketch and the line work and so on as I did for the coloring here, so it's like 50-50 in this case, and that is because I struggled a bit with the line work. So here I'm getting rid of all the lines that I don't need, and I think I'm setting the layer to linear burn then and start out with a flat color. And I'm using my custom colors here, so I have one palette, I think it's called Jewel Ool, like my name, and then custom, and this is a certain type of yellow that I use, and a certain type of bluish green and red, etc. And yes, I've used these colors there. I also used my alcohol ink stamps, which I like so much. You can see it on the left side of the armchair, and the armchair got a pattern as well. This is a pattern I've got from Lisa Glance, or a pattern brush by Lisa Glance. And here you can see me playing around with ditching the line work altogether. And I'm not quite sure what I think I'm working on the lamp there, because I felt it was too intense or too unnatural or distracting. I'm not quite sure, so I reduced it a bit by, I think, applying a layer mask and then drawing with a black on top of it, so I could, I didn't erase the line work, so with the layer mask I could still keep it and just toggle off and on the visibility of the mask to see whether I want to have the line work or not. So I'm working on all of the elements here. I'm working on the table and try to get in some color variation so that it's not just a flat brown, but you can see me adding some lighter parts to the brown there. And I like using the turpentine brush, which is a Procreate native brush for that purpose, and also my alcohol ink stamps. So I use them in a dark version and in a light version. Adding a little stripe pattern to the teapot there. And I skipped the mouse that I drew at the beginning in the sketch, and honestly I think I skipped it because I was just kind of too lazy to draw it. After I had done all the work on the two main characters, I couldn't be bothered with drawing another one that didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So I think it's quite a shame, because I like the little mouse sitting there or lying there under the table and reading. But anyways, it's not in the final illustration now, and that's just as it is. So I had an alcohol ink stamp there on the bunny's face, and I did some shading to the legs of the badger. And I think also, I'm not quite sure, I think I changed its eye. So I remember that I struggled with the eyes of the badger a bit at the beginning. And maybe you can hear my neighbor kids outside there. It's the holidays and they're all outside playing. So adding yet more lighter and darker parts to the bunny's face to make it look a bit more 3D, though I have to say I failed with that in the end. And especially when I decided I didn't want to have the line work, I tried to, define the clothes and the animals a bit more. And so I used darker and lighter areas for that. So here I'm working on the cookies, and it's always the same. The parts that I'm not interested in, I drew at the very last stage. I think you can relate. So here you can see me adding even more shading to the pot and a little shadow beneath the blanket that's on the tree, can't think of the word, on the armchair. And more shading to the bunny and the bunny's face. So here I'm getting the line work back in, because I think, oh, maybe it looked nicer with the line work. And then I ditched it again and defined the cookies a bit more. Yes, and that's it. So this is the illustration. I actually never posted it on Instagram because I felt it needed more work, and now it's March and nobody wants to see cozy tea time illustrations anymore. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed watching the process, and I hope to see you soon for another video. Bye!